Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to make some delicious collard greens in the pressure cooker. Let's get started. All right, guys, what I have here, I have half of a medium onion that I've diced roughly, and then I have some rib tips and different scraps from ribs that I've smoked and saved. What we're gonna do, we're gonna put those into our pressure cooker, and we're gonna pressure cook those for about 10 minutes to start a broth and get some flavor going into that water, into that liquid. Set that bad boy for 10 minutes and let it roll. All right, guys, so once the 10 minutes is up, we're going to go ahead and release that pressure by opening up the vent. And when we open up the lid, you're going to see how delicious and how this broth looks. It's how rich it looks. You can see the color in there. You can see how that meat is starting to get really tender and break down. Our onions are starting to get soft. So this is what we're looking for. Notice I didn't put any salt or anything in that at the beginning, but now we're going to begin to season up our broth a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stir it up a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and add in granulated garlic, granulated onion, and black pepper into our broth. I'm using about 2 teaspoons of each of the pepper, onion, and the garlic. I also have a little bit of chicken base that I'm putting in there as well, about 2 teaspoons of that as well, to add some nice flavor to our broth. I don't want to add a lot of salt to it right now because when you're cooking in the pressure cooker, you can't pull the lid off like you can when you're cooking your pot and taste it. So I don't want to overdo it. So we're just going to add in the fair amounts of our pepper, our garlic, and our onion, but not a whole lot of salt initially. Once we get that in there, we're going to go ahead on and begin to get our greens inside of our pressure cooker. I used about, I believe it was 4 bunches of greens that we cut, broke down and cleaned up. So we have a fair amount of greens that we're putting into our pressure cooker. If I'm not mistaken, my pressure cooker is a 12-quart pressure cooker, so it's a nice size. Yours may not be as big, yours may be a little bit bigger. So, but I am able to add all of my greens in there. So what I did, I'll actually add in the rest of the chicken base that I was going to add to it. So I basically put in a teaspoon earlier in the broth and another teaspoon just now. Then I added in some more of the onion as well. Then once I do that, I want to go ahead and put some more of my greens on top. I like to layer it in that way. That way I can have a little bit of flavor all the way running through my greens. Again, since we're not using a traditional pot, I can't get in there while it's cooking and stir everything around. So doing it this way and layering some of the flavors in there, I don't have to worry about making sure that each layer has flavor in it. So once we get everything in there, I'm going to push it down as best as I can. Generally, you probably wouldn't want to load it up like this, but it'll be all right. So once you get everything in there, you just give it a good little shove as best as you can. Then we're going to go ahead on and put our lid back on and set this bad boy up to get these greens cooking. Let me know if you guys cook greens in your pressure cooker. Give me your recipe. Let me know what you do for yours. This works out really good. I would still traditionally like it better in the on the stove, but when you're short for time, this works out really, really good. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to set our pressure cooker up, and we're going to set it for 5 minutes. Now that's not enough time to completely cook the greens, but what it's going to do is allow these greens to cook down so we can get in there and do some mixing up. So it's been 5 minutes now. We're going to go ahead and pull this lid, and you can see now how the greens have cooked down. But they still got a ways to go. But all I want to do now is I want to take some tongs, and I want to begin to start mixing my greens up, moving them around, mixing up those seasonings, mixing up those onions and things like that, mixing up our meat, and taking some of those greens that were on top and making sure that they get down there in the broth as well. So just mix it up as best as you can. You know, it may take a little time, but just go ahead and make sure that you do it. And then once you get them mixed up well enough, then you're going to go ahead on and throw that lid back on and continue to let them cook for another 5 minutes. All right, guys, so we've let them cook another 5 minutes. You can see now that they're really starting to come together. We're going to continue to mix it up, mixing them around, mixing up that meat and those onions and those seasonings in that delicious broth. And now's the time you want to go ahead and taste your greens. Now, I like my greens pretty tender. Some people, they would be done at this point and they would just add a little extra seasoning and they'd be good. I like mine a little more tender. And if you like yours a little more tender, then we're going to let them go another 5 minutes. But what I do want to do right now, I want to go ahead on and taste the greens to make sure we don't need to add any more seasonings. It's real important that you taste them because you don't want to get done with them at the end and think everything is good and then they're bland. So once we've tasted them, I do want to add in a little more black pepper and I want to add in some sea salt. We're good with our garlic and our onion, but it definitely needs a little bit more salt and pepper in there. At this point too, you could add in some crushed red pepper. That would be really good, and I do like to add that into my greens at some point. But you know, my kids aren't the biggest fans of the spicy collards, so I'm going to leave them out today. So again, we're going to just add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, mix it up, and then we're going to put that lid back on it and let it run for another 5 minutes. And after that, we're going to be good, done and ready to plate up. So I'm just going to mix it up one more time, throw that lid back on it, and get these bad boys finished up. And there we have it, guys. They are done, complete, in about 20 minutes. Something that normally takes me a couple hours to cook, we got them done in 20 minutes, and they are amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Give it a try and let me know what you think.